Hi there, it's Moira from the Unstuck community program. Thanks so much for joining me. We put this video together because there's so many areas that people get stuck, particularly at this time of year when, at the beginning of a year, maybe you've made resolutions, but maybe you've just made goals or set intentions. It's like start the new year with a clean slate. But there's three main areas where people tend to get stuck. And those are areas like money, worrying about money, not having enough of it, health-related goals like exercise and weight, and also relationships. The ideal relationship, want to be in one or out of one, those type of things. So that's what we wanted to talk about. And so I got together two really good friends of mine for us to have conversations to help you get unstuck. So the first guest I have with me today is Erica Vincelli. She is an Ottawa-based mortgage broker, and she specializes in first-time home buyers. And I think you'll agree with me, she's got a lot more than just money savvy to offer us. And my second guest is a really good friend of mine, Nancy Galway. I know her in three different ways. She is the managing director of the local eWomen chapter. As well, she is a geriatric social worker, and she is a coping coach. She helps people cope with stress. So she's got a lot of wisdom to offer us too in these three areas where people get stuck. Our goal is to help you get unstuck. So please enjoy. Thank you so much to Erica and Nancy for coming. Let's talk a wee bit about money. And this time of year, things get a little bit crazy where people maybe have overspent in Christmas. We talked a wee bit about this idea of Blue Monday and people getting depressed and not really liking themselves because of what they've done maybe. Let's just, Erica, why don't you share a wee bit about what your thoughts are? Why do people get so depressed, do you think, about money?
Well, I mean, it's can be such a stressful topic, really, because it's money and it's, the way the world goes around and, to heat your home and to have a roof over your head and to feed your family. Yeah. Blue Monday could be scary for some because, the credit card bills are starting to come in. You're starting to realize what you actually spent over the holidays, and maybe people, you overextended yourself. So, it could be a little bit nerve-wracking, but, there's a day after as well to keep that in mind, so it's not the end of it all.
Absolutely, and I like what you just said. It's very true. The thing is about money is that money is essential. We need money to survive. And so, but sometimes I see that people get really depressed by it because they only focus on the credit card bills. And it sometimes this stress, and Nancy, I'm going to get you to talk about the stress part in a wee minute, but the thing about coping with the choices you made, I think that's a really big piece that happens for people, is that they in the moment think that this is the best thing to do, and then maybe they did it on an impulse, bought something on impulse and put it on credit card and said, I'll deal with that after.
Yeah. How many people over budget at Christmas time? You should be making a list at Christmas time, exactly what you want to spend on somebody, how many gifts you're going to buy for a particular person or a particular family, so that you don't go past your means and then have that depression hit you in January when you think, I loved it in December when I bought that gift for them, but come January you thought, oh God, so expensive, why did I do that? So try to make a budget ahead of time when you're going out, so that January you're not sitting there feeling the blues, when really it's still a great time of year. Would beautiful, the sun's out, the snow, the activities that you can do. So to dwell on the financial side of what was a really great holiday, would be really sad.
But I like what you said, having a budget can really help you, and maybe with a little bit of wiggle room, so that when you see that. But what's your thoughts on the stress around all that money piece?
Well, I'm going to share that money has been a challenge for me most of my life, and something that I read several years ago I found was really powerful. It was in one of these dummies books.
You're great, aren't you?
I love them. I'm a dummy. I buy all those books. I just love them. But I was struggling with saying, what you were saying, not having enough money to pay the bills. I think it was around the same time of year, and it was just very simply put that for money comes and goes. You know, you can always get more money, and the easiest thing to do is either lower your expenses or increase your revenue.
Yeah.
And to somebody like me who in business doesn't always focus on that, or in my personal life we're always doing other things, it was like, wow, that's so simple but so powerful. And that one little thing has changed my whole outlook on money and lowered my stress, because I thought, you know, so many people think, wow, you know, there's nothing I can do, but there's always something
always
you can
something
do.
you can do,
So
absolutely.
increase your money, get that second job,
Yeah.
open that business, you know, get rid of unnecessary expenses. I mean, there's so many ways to fix it.
That's brilliant. I think something that I really like to help people, because like you, Nancy, I struggle. I still have worries and wake up in the middle of the night and
Panic.
in a cold sweat thinking, oh my God. This is normal life. But it doesn't have to be that stress that causes so much depression and anxiety, because the thing is that money's just the tool. It's the energy flow that gives me a quality of life.
Yeah.
Debts come and go. So when you focus on what it is that you did, like we were talking about, if you saw something and went over your budget to make a special gift to somebody, is to really focus on, I chose to do that, and let yourself feel good about that.
Yeah.
For sure, you might have to make payments, but you can do that. So rather than just freak out every time you see that credit card debt, right? And so I think for me, one of the things that, it was a mentor of mine that actually helped me see this a long time ago, was that if you can only make your minimum payments for a certain amount of time,
Okay.
just do that. Don't sweat the fact that it's still
Don't
not,
spend more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't spend more. Absolutely, don't spend more.
No, even on
For
the
sure.
credit card payments, you know,
Yeah.
I tell people, I help people with credit and, you know, credit bureaus all the time as a mortgage broker. So I tell people, you know, the essence of credit is don't have too many credit cards,
Yeah.
don't overextend yourself, and, you know, pay at least the minimum balance. So if
Absolutely.
you don't have the extra money to pay down the credit card to maintain your credit score, which is very important as well, is to at least pay the minimum balance, because that's, you know, it'll at least get you over that little bit of a hurdle. And so if January is a kind of a stuck time for you, then just paying that minimum will at least get you unstuck for that until the next month.
Perfectly said. Getting you unstuck and knowing, because see, that's you then focusing on what you can do as opposed to what you can't, right? That's
Make it
where the-
achievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And so be it. If for the first couple of months of the year, that's all you can do is maintain that, then get busy feeling good about other things. And then I like what you said too. It's like, just get really real about it.
Yeah.
You know, if it's becoming that big of a deal, then maybe you need to look at, where can I cut some of my costs? Where can I maybe do without a few things?
Yeah.
Not to the degree that it feels like it's imprisoning.
Giving up.
Or, yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
that extra latte. That,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Do you
easy
really
things.
need that?
Look at your cell phone bills. Look at your TV bills. I mean, how many channels do we buy that we don't even watch? You know, trying to just make that more effective. But you know, getting a second job. I worked 2 jobs for my whole life, including right now. I still serve, and I do it because I love it. But I tell you, having
Still
a little bit of
brings in
extra
money.
cash at the end of the month or at the end of the week to just pay my gas, to not put that on my credit card, one more thing on my credit card, just
It
really
really
eases the
helps.
burden, and
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
And I think that that's one of the things for me, and in my own business right now, it's becoming really conscious, becoming really aware of that income and outgoing. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I did, and this is back basically in the last 6 months, I found that I was paying an awful lot of money for advertising, and even had a Yellow Pages ad going, which was like, why am I doing
$3
this?
million.
Why am I doing this?
Yellow Pages, what?
but they work.
Exactly.
They do work. Yeah.
Well, not to the
No?
degree
Oh,
that
okay.
of the expense. And so the reason I was sharing that is that I decided to sit down and take an inventory of
Reevaluate.
where is the money, and is it paying? Like, is
Best
it
bang
worth
for
it?
your buck.
Where is the bang for my buck? Absolutely. And so it was funny because I phoned up the rep and said, I'm cancelling all. And he then squirmed and tried to put together some new deal, and I just said,
package
no.
for you, yeah.
no, I'm really serious. I've done it for 2 years, and it's not for me.
No.
I'm starting to just be very real about what's right for my business.
Yeah.
And
actually,
you're doing that in your
that's-
business, and that's what we should be doing in our lives.
Precisely. That it's a really good reflection of how we should be doing in our lives is like you said, that's like checking in. Do you really need that extra latte? You know, just you can have one. I love lattes, but that to me is a treat.
Yeah, me too.
That I might do once a week, not every day. I have clients that will do it every day and then justify it.
I
and
used
it's
to,
like,
and that was one area that I did cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's exactly my point there, is taking inventory of the stuff that, what can you let go and still have a good quality of life?
Your
Still
Yellow
feel-
Pages ad.
Yes. The yellow
I had one too.
For the lattes, you're looking at $3 or $4, but you're looking at that every single day, or
Precisely.
multiple times a day.
Yep.
So if you can
That
eliminate
adds
just
up.
one, and even make it accountable. So if you're taking out a $3 a day latte, well, at the end of that month or at the end of that year, that $3 can be reevaluated or reestablished into something else that is really important to you. And then if you take out those $3 a day latte, and then doing your nails every 2 weeks instead of every 3 weeks, whatever makes you happy, you still have to be happy. But if you take out certain elements that even they might be small costs, but over time they
It'll make
just
a
they
difference.
really
Yeah.
do make a difference, because they really cost a lot by the end of the year with all those $2, $3, $4. It adds up pretty quick. So if you can take those out a little bit, it might help too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But then the other part about all that is that, like, feeling good about yourself doesn't really even have to cost money.
No.
Right? You can feel, well, we said this earlier, happiness really is a state of mind.
It is.
And you can choose it. And to me, that's the biggest thing about becoming unstuck, whether it's to do with money worries or business or career or weight or partnerships, whatever it is that's got you feeling less than, or that there's something outside of your zone of control, that you can actually just go inside and say, I'm going to choose to look at this in a different way.
Or perspective.
Perspective
can be huge.
Yeah.
No, happiness is a choice. That is probably the strongest statement that anyone can make. We can all choose to be really sad and depressed, and then it's also, and it's okay to be sad. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to feel down.
We all do.
But it's also, learning how to cope with it and learn how to get out of it too, because, everybody, we're all beautiful people and we live in a great world. And so, make the most of what you can while we're on this planet too, right?
Yeah.
What kind of tips would you give, Nancy, to somebody coping with, like, if they were really down about their financial situation or their business? Other than what we've just discussed. I mean, so we've got some really good ideas here too.
One
but
question that I wanted to bring up, because I used to try and help people with money as well, but from a different perspective. Years ago I worked in social housing and people couldn't pay their rent, and here I am trying to counsel them about money, and money was not my background, not my forte. So I often said, people would say, I can pay my rent, but I can't pay my phone, or I can pay half my rent. And I said, pay half of this, but phone the company and let them know what you're doing.
That's a really good one.
So communication is a big thing. And if you're in a relationship with somebody as well, tell your partner, and just so everybody's on the same page. But just say, hello, telephone company, I can only pay half my bill. And what happens is they know you're making that effort. So
As long as you communicate it with them.
That's right. Communicate it, and if that's all you can do, even that lowers your stress, because you're doing something, and just the act of doing something. Doesn't matter what it matters what it is, but it can be something very small. Makes such a big difference, because you're actually taking control by doing one little thing.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But you're so right. It's the taking control is number one. That's being responsible for where you're at. But also, I don't know about you, but when I've been stressed or worried about something and I've gone inside, I don't believe that anybody else could have as big a problem or an issue as me. And
We all think
just by, we do, that's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
So by the thing of saying, okay, credit card company or telephone bill company, I can only give you half. And them being really, I've done
And they
that. There's been
understand.
years,
Yeah.
there was a time years and years ago that I was at that place where I was, and I remember calling up, I think it was the cable company I had to call and say, I can only make X amount of payment. And they were like, thank you so much for,
letting us
They
for
appreciate
calling us and
Because I've
so,
done it too.
so my point is that not only do I stop worrying immediately because now I've been
And you go,
seen and you think, oh,
Take a deep
Yeah.
breath. There's mortgage companies too. If you call them up, you can actually say, I've lost my job. Can I defer some payments? And what they'll do is they'll
Exactly.
just take those payments and put them at the end of your
Yeah.
mortgage. So
Yeah.
it's really about communicating with them. My girlfriend, she lost a job a few years ago, and she owned a house, and she had these payments and this payment. And I told her, I was already in the business, and I told her, I said, just call up your credit card companies, call
Tell
up the
them.
lender, and just tell them this is the story. There's proof to you that you had lost your job. By no means was it your fault. It was just downsizing, and people are understanding about them. But you have to tell them first. You can't just sweep it under the rug and pretend it
Not
didn't
answer the
happen,
phone.
because then that's kind of how people get into way more trouble.
Yeah.
And she did that, and she was actually very relieved. She thanked me for it, because a lot of people don't know that that's an option for people.
yeah,
Exactly.
Telling them.
yeah. So
And they want to work with you because they want their money.
Yeah.
And half is
won't get
better
that
than
back.
nothing.
Yeah.
yes,
And it's not even feeling like it's to admit defeat. There's no
that's
you're
the
not being
stigma
defeated.
part, right? And
Yes.
that there's a lot of people who will have an issue with that, of what will people think of me?
Yeah, well, you're only telling one person, and this is the time that you want to be considered a number. My file number is 12345, no name, but I can't make my bill, or I can only afford this much. And they don't sit around talking, this person, this person. It's not like that.
No,
They
I know, but isn't
they do
that-
strategies to help you pay your bills.
I really love that you've said that, because it's the internal dialogue that will make somebody stop.
You're going to freak yourself out way more than anyone else.
I know.
It's true.
I know. It's like, oh, my neighbors are going to find out, or they're going to.
Unless you put it on Facebook.
Not the post we're going for this week.
Not really. Not really. I'm all
No,
about
no,
sharing, but there are limits.
Chris Nancy is not paying her bill.
If you are in a position where money is tight, don't avoid the subject. You really want to face
have to
it
deal with
head
it.
on.
Yeah.
Deal with however you can. There are programs out there. There are, just like you said, calling the companies and letting them know, so that you can, take that next step to get to the getting it to that next step. Really.
And thanks so much for saying that, Erica. It's so true that what you've shared is, and what we're talking about here, is it really, really allows you to be the driver of your own bus in life, right? That regardless of what happens, whether you lose your job or you break up with your spouse, or stuff happens,
Yeah,
that
life goes
money
on.
flow part is necessary to our life for sure, but it's not the be all and end all to the life experience.
Yeah.
And so we get to choose about, are you going to bury your head and say, I can't deal with this, and it's, I'm a sinking ship.
Yeah.
It's
If you can't
just
see me, it
awful.
doesn't really happen. But unfortunately, it's not
The
like that.
ostrich mentality.
Yeah. Unfortunately, life does continue. And so, no, it's good.
So even in tough times, you can actually choose to make it your life's
Make it
journey.
better.
Yeah,
And get unstuck.
and get unstuck.
Get unstuck.
Absolutely.